Foot Sergeant Halderson.
Sir.
March on the color.
Sir. Color party. Attention.
Talon Squadron, attention!
Colors. By the center. Quick. March. Color party. Halt. Color party. Right. Turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would ask you to stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Color ready. Left. Turn. By the center. Quick. March. Right wheel. Right wheel. Right wheel. Color ready. Halt. The net. Ease.
Talon Squadron, stand back, ease.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Right on the floor, ladies. Leave your attention. Those that don't fit on this, no, not right in front of those guys. You gotta be over this way. Do not block the flags. And anyone who doesn't fit here, go to the other side. Sit on the floor there. We're one big Catholic household, there's always room for one more. Good morning, students of St. Andrews, staff, visitors, and honored guests. Welcome to the 13th annual Peace Day celebration. This year's program is a game being designed by my Social 20-1 students. This year, the students have decided to dedicate the presentation to recognize the 100th anniversary of the penning of In Flanders Fields by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, and the importance of the act of remembrance. In designing this presentation each year presents its own set of special circumstances and challenges for all those involved. I'm happy to report that this year was no different. This year, in reflecting on previous presentations, students sought to pay homage to this famous poetical dedication to all who have served and the call to action that it serves as for the rest of us. This year, students have challenged themselves to take this call to action seriously and have fittingly entitled their presentation, "We Shall Not Sleep." As always, the students of this class have done an outstanding job and are anxious to share their work with you. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we present We Shall Not Rest.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Lieutenant Colonel John Alexander McCrae was born in Guelph, Ontario in late 1872. After serving in the South African War as an artillery subaltern in 1889, he returned to Toronto University and studied medicine. He was enlisted immediately upon Canada's entrance into World War I, and at the age of 42, appointed brigade surgeon, given the rank of major, and was second in command of the 1st Brigade Canadian Field Artillery. He treated the wounded during the Second Battle of Ypres in 1915, and it was there, in Belgium, that McCrae was inspired to pen the now famous poem In Flanders Field during the burial of his friend and fellow officer, Lieutenant Alexis Hemmler. John McCrae died January 28, 1918, and was buried in the following day in the Commonwealth War Graves Commission section of One Rank Cemetery with full military honors. After his passing, a series of John's poems were published, including the famous In Flanders Fields. This year is the centennial of the writing of his poem In Flanders Fields. Today we will focus on his honor-worthy piece of literature, and on not forgetting the sacrifice and feats of our soldiers and our responsibility as young Canadians to never close our eyes to all that our people have fought for. To remember our soldiers, both returned and fallen, we attend Remembrance Day services, pour poppies over our hearts, and think back on the sacrifices our soldiers made. This is how we remember. One of the ways we do this is through wearing poppies over our hearts. Poppies have been associated with battlefield deaths since long before the penning of In Flanders Fields. The chalky soil of the former battlefields become rich enough through the fertilization of corpses and rubble that poppies are able to grow. It was said by historian Lord Macaulay that the huge numbers of red blossom is the earth refusing to cover the stain of war. Just as the earth wears poppies in memory of the bloodshed by our soldiers, so do we. Another way we honor and remember our soldiers is through the gathering of Canadians along King's Highway 401 in Ontario, the Highway of Heroes. On the overpasses of the highway, Canadians gather to honor fallen soldiers as their bodies are brought home. The following video, accompanied by the song Highway of Heroes, shows the honor we give to our soldiers.
So, from the coast and from the prairies, I bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and came question, my answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been, but no consolation to the forgotten grave. So carry me home down the highway of heroes, people above, where the flags fly low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes, true patriot love, there was never more. Carry me home down the highway of heroes, people I love, with the hands of love. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes, true patriot love, there was never more. 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 There was never.
Canadians also remember and pay respect to our soldiers through visiting the areas in which our soldiers have fought. Over the years, students from our high school have visited Europe, where they paid respect to those lost by visiting many battlefields, including Passchendaele, Juno Beach, Dieppe, Vimy Ridge, and gravesites such as Benny-sur-Mar, Bergen-op-Zoom, Dieppe War Graves, and Tyncott War Graves. Many monuments were constructed in former war zones to show respect to our fallen soldiers. Canadian forces have made a huge impact worldwide throughout time. Those we have helped have not ceased to be thankful and have never forgotten our sacrifices. We must remember so we can honor the losses and bravery. This is why we must remember. For those who have visited these sites, it is evident that the impact of our soldiers has not been forgotten. The following statement is from Mr. Dan Gilmore about his experience in Bergen-op-Zoom in 2013.
As a Canadian traveling in Holland, I've had a number of outstanding experiences. One of the most powerful was a stop we made at Bergen-op-Zoom. Our stop at the Canadian War Cemetery at Bergen-op-Zoom was the first time our students had been in a Canadian War graveyard. As always, for our students and staff, it was an emotional experience. We talk about it in school social studies classes, and we stop and remember it on November the 11th every year. But to actually be standing in a field of gravestones perfectly arranged and groomed is something entirely different. While my students were off reading gravestones and placing poppies on those without, I was approached by an older gentleman on a bicycle. He greeted me with, "Canadian?" I responded in the affirmative, and the gentleman became very animated and explained that he was one of the people responsible for maintaining the grave sites. He went on in his explanation to tell me that he worked with many of the local students who maintained the graves all on their own time. He continued my personal guided tour of the site by telling me a number of stories about the various soldiers buried there. I was surprised to find out that he had met the widows and children of a number of soldiers buried in the cemetery as families had made pilgrimages. He told me he'd been only a child when the war had broken out, but that he still remembered when the Canadians had come and liberated his town. He recalled the flag waving and cheering like it was yesterday. He finished his tour by shaking my hand and tearfully thanking me for the great service that my country had provided his. There are no words for the pride that I felt at being Canadian at that moment.
On May 5th, the Netherlands celebrated Freedom Day, commemorating a time when 80,000 Canadian soldiers lost their lives on Dutch soil. The people from the Netherlands went from starving under German occupation to celebrating in the streets with the assistance and sacrifice of Canadian soldiers. Each year, the Netherlands take 2 minutes of silence to honor the Canadians that died fighting in the name of freedom from the oppression of Nazi Germany. Upon the occupation of the Netherlands by Nazi Germany, the royal family was welcomed into Canada to be kept safe from terror of World War II. When Juliana of the Netherlands was preparing to have her baby, Canada temporarily declared the maternity ward of the Ottawa Civic Hospital to be extraterritorial, making it unaffiliated with any country. Thus, the Canadian government allowed for Princess Margaret of the Netherlands to be born safe from the war and on international territory, making her citizenship derived solely from her home country of the Netherlands. Since the end of the war, the Dutch royal family has presented Canada with tulips as a token of gratitude every year for providing safety during the time of war. Now our Parliament Hill is decorated with tulips from the Netherlands commemorating the bravery of our soldiers. The tulips is a perennial flower, so our garden of tulips grows early. The other nations our soldiers have helped have not forgotten. They have not, and we cannot either. We remember to honor our veterans, our lost soldiers, those deployed, the service families and everything they give and have given for us, and those around the world. Many died for us, yet to this day they still live on. We take pride in what our veterans and fallen soldiers have done for us. Going to war and knowing what they themselves have to sacrifice everything for our freedom. For those who have fought for us, we must show them our gratitude by giving up some of our time for them. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun in the morning, we will remember them. The only way to truly remember and honor the
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. That Northcote place, and in the sky, the larks so bravely singing fly. Scarce heard the basement down below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived till the dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and we loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Think of our quarrel with the foe. To you, with failing hands we throw. The torch to yours, to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, the poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Our message today is we shall not sleep. This means we cannot close our eyes or turn our heads away, and we cannot forget. Though time has passed, though poppies may now grow, we must remember. We invite you to take to social media to show the world how you remember and honor our service members. Using the hashtag #WeShallNotSleep, help us in bringing a new life to what it means to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would ask that you stand with us playing Last Post, following 2 minutes silence, followed by revelation.
Attention!
like to thank all of those who have made the celebration today possible. My students, the teachers who have released students from regular scheduled classes to do extra work on this presentation, and in the case of today, allowed out the entire squadron in order to get into their uniforms in advance. And to our veterans who each year make the trip to St. Andrews to participate in our celebration. To all of you, our sincerest thanks. As I do every year, please allow me to remind you that tomorrow is Remembrance Day. It is more than a day off of school. It is a day set aside for you to remember those that made all that we enjoy today possible. I challenge you to make the minor sacrifice of an hour or two to join us at the Legion, to pay honor to those who have made such large sacrifices, in some cases, sacrificing all. Thank you for being an excellent audience today. And again, I look forward to seeing many of you on Wednesday. If you're interested in getting a seat at the Legion, I recommend being there no later than 10:30 in the morning. It fills up fast. We anticipate in excess of 450 bodies. This time as well, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the excellent work done by the Social 20-1 class. Please come to the front. Different size classes every year carry this off. This year, 7 students managed to bring this all to you. They have worked exceptionally hard. Not that other groups haven't, but when you've only got 7 bodies, it's a lot of hustle on everyone's part. So again, from me to you, my sincerest thanks. Light Sergeant Alderson.
Sir.
March off the color.
Sir.
No, belay that. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Cash Land of the United Kingdom. Light Sergeant Alderson.
Sir.
March off the color.
Sir. Color party. Hoist colors. Right wheel by the right. Right wheel by the center. Quick. March. Left wheel. Left wheel.
Town squadron, stand up. Ease.
Great, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get these chairs anyway in just a second. Thank you for being a fantastic audience. We will now turn you over. You were just shy of the start of your period 4. So people will reconvene for period 4 classes. That gives you some time to go get a washroom break and everything else a couple extra minutes to get to your next class. Again, thank you for being a phenomenal audience this morning. You made me very proud.